Howdy my dudes, Random Fight Fan here, going over another Fixing My Build video. This one here is from a patron, Taliana or AAA. And we have some notes. He was saying that he feels like his gear is pretty decent, but on first quick look, it definitely had a lot of improvements that could be done. A few things that could be a little bit confusing, like one main one here is allies in your presence gaining all these increased damage. It doesn't actually apply to you. But we'll go over to his video here that he sent in to kind of show where his strengths and weaknesses kind of lie. I will have a copy of this video going throughout the whole time, but right now, I guess one thing I kind of messed up on, I want to show I didn't have it paused right quick. There we go. This here specifically is not an ailment threshold map, so this is pretty telling to what we'll see going forward. Also, another really cool thing in here, I like your pet. That one there is pretty cool. But coming into the map here, there we go. You see that he's really spamming his lightning spear a lot. It very rarely gets to max volt charges. It's usually only at about 10 throws, and you spamming it that much is going to be kind of difficult for keeping up the frenzy charges. Right now you have Innervate and Ice Bite going, but I've definitely noticed that it's highly inconsistent. Innervate will always be pretty easy because Lightning Spear has that increased chance to shock, but it feels like you're having a really hard time getting those initial freezes off. But when you get one and you have Ice Bite, you can kind of cascade going through it, but since this isn't even an ailment resistant map, that's kind of an issue. These should be fairly easy for you to sustain. The other issue is because you're spamming Volt so much, you're not getting, or Lightning Spear so much, you're not giving your Volt a chance to stack up. So it's actually being a little bit less useful for you than what probably could be given from another skill. Volt is absolutely fantastic. It's best in slot for Lightning Spear, but it rewards taking a few steps between, like right there. That one was perfect. But unfortunately that's not your playstyle, so if you're liking the Lightning Spear spammy playstyle, which is entirely fine, it's completely acceptable, it's a good playstyle, and it's pretty fun as well, it doesn't work well with Volt, so you might want to switch that for a different gem here. Coming forward as well, when we get to the boss, you'll see that you're casting your Infernal Cry at the basically empty area, so you're not actually getting the benefit of the buff. It's saying that you have empowered attack, but your boss needs to be in range for you to be able to get the empower on it. So you're essentially giving yourself a 0 damage buff. You need to be right by the boss while that happens. You can see right here that you're tossing out your lightning spear to get the initial shocks off, but that does mean you're consuming your frenzy charges. You are using lightning spear throw, I guess, which actually works fairly well for what you're doing if you have that not perpetual charge, but we'll just stop this right now. But if you have the support gem that makes it so it does not use, there it is, inhibitor does not use frenzy charges, it could actually be pretty good, kind of like how I use Stormlance. I still prefer Stormlance, but this here is entirely a good alternative if you're able to get the shocks off. Obviously you weren't consistently, but I mean, if it's working for you, then great. It's not the best that you could do, but it definitely is getting the job done. And all you have to do is get the other ailments off and you'll be happy with it. An inhibitor on spear throw is a really good idea. You are not using I can't remember the name of the skill on here that allows you to use or boost your ranged attack damage or melee attack damage. If you've used a melee or ranged attack recently, it would fit very well on there for your Wind Serpent and allow you to move some things around. But anyways, that is the first quick topic or quick thoughts on your video. It's definitely telling that you're not getting consistent freezes off on a non-element resistant map, which means you're not getting enough cold damage, and we are going to fix that with gear right now. So one of my first thoughts is that you have really low life and energy shield despite being with an energy shield, split evasion energy shield base, and you also have really low evasion rating. Unfortunately, splitting it with your gear is hurting you and your rolls aren't exactly the best. The other thing that I noticed when I had it on Path of Building here is it says that you have minus 100 total unreserved spirit. That's likely a glitch. It's showing that you have 283 spirit from your scepter here. You're obviously not getting anything from anything else, so I'm not too sure exactly how you're putting everything in place. But either way, we're going to fix this up and make it work a lot better for you. Now, I know you said your main thoughts were regarding your skills, but we need to start with gear. And first of all, your Tangle Tongue's good. It's 2-socket with a above 19% crit chance, so you're going to be happy with that. It could be better, but it's absolutely minimal for improving, like really low priority. Your helmet, though, is hurting you really, really bad. You being a split evasion energy shield, while it seems good, is actually not, because you are using subterfuge mask. So with the 285 evasion rating and 108 energy shield, it's giving you, what, 216 more evasion rating for a total of, what, 401 and 108. If you were, yeah, I think that's right. I wrote it down here. If you were to get the Camus and Tiara, which is the full energy shield one instead, with the exact same 77% increase just energy shield, it would give you 430 evasion, while also giving you an extra 100 energy shield, because it would be at 215 energy shield, which is already a really large and substantial survivability buff, because it's just base more stats with nothing else changed. I think this here should be one of the first things you do change, because you're basing your build kind of around with being on your tree with subterfuge mask. You 100% need to be a pure energy shield helmet. Another thing is the mana and life rolls aren't really doing anything for you. If either of those are percent life or percent evasion energy shield with life or mana added on, then this makes this helmet even worse, because it's just another bad roll on it. Like, the attributes and rarity is nice, but you need a lot more defensives on your helmet. Same thing with your chest piece. This here, again, this one looks like it's possibly 2 rolls, but it could be massively higher for extremely cheap. But even if you did get a better chest piece like this to take advantage of everything, you're just going to be better off getting Hari's Ire. And according to POE trade, when I pulled this up, when I first went through and did the notes, you're spending about 2 to 3 divines to get a fairly decent Hari's Ire. Like, here's 121% for 2 divs, assuming they, actually accept the trade. Here's 116 for 3 divs, 110 for 3 divs. Yeah, all along here, a whole bunch of them for 3 divs. Then it starts to get to 4 around here. There's going to be a lot of options to go through. It will massively increase your survivability. It is wild how nice it is. And yeah, the only downside to Hari's Ire is with the damage and, well, the extra flat damage, which will help you with getting freezes off, which will help you getting Ice Bite off, which will boost your overall damage, and it will also increase how often you get frenzy charges, which is one thing you were saying is you have a hard time maintaining frenzy charges. 1, because you're throwing your spear so much, and 2, because you're not getting consistent freezes. Then yeah, you're going to want that extra flat cold damage to attacks. It's going to help you out immensely. Now, oops, not here. Now, after looking at your chest piece, you also got some rings. These rings are actually really solid. I'm happy with those. They got good suffixes. Even the mana per enemy killed is really nice. That's why your mana is absolutely not a problem with you even spamming the spear in maps. This here is nice for sure. I wish the damage numbers on the cold was a little bit higher here. You could potentially whittle off the accuracy, but it might not be worth it depending on what you can buy. Here I wish the lightning was a little higher, and then again you could whittle the accuracy. Regardless, these rings are actually fantastic. Now this amulet, it is a pretty solid amulet, except for that it's increased armor instead of like energy shield or evasion kind of thing. It's got good suffixes, which are the main thing. It's got a good anoint. I'm not sure if it's it's probably the best one for you with the gear you have and the stuff you have on your tree, but the downside to this is you will be massively better off using a Beacon of Aziz. The reason for that is because you don't have any penetration on the tree, no elemental penetration right there, or like elemental penetration right here. It's kind of difficult to get all that penetration, especially if you're doing split damage. Here we go. So you really should go Beacon of Aziz. The reason for that is because especially like pinnacle bosses like T4 Zesht has 75% all res. So while this amulet is actually kind of nice, getting Beacon of Aziz will make you do literally 4 times the damage. It's absolutely essential for having all these split damage rolls and making the most out of it. It will help you with freezes, help you with shocks, help you with ignites. Yeah, it's basically best in slot for you, and it will even give you even more spirit to allow you to play with even more. Which brings me to the scepter. This is really fantastic. It's got huge max spirit. Even the max mana is kind of helpful. The attributes on there, absolutely fantastic. The only downside to this, other than honestly not needing that much spirit, is the fact that it's a malice one. You do not need the critical weakness aura. You should use any purity scepter, and I would highly recommend Purity of Flame. The reason for that is because if you ever do get the chicken leg, the Sacred Flame staff, it's really easy to 1-for-1 carry your build over and fix it. Or not fix it, but just do the upgrade without losing anything and not having to change all your other gear around it. And then it also gives you a big chunk to your maximum or to your fire res, which helps with gearing even more as well. Or, you know, cold or lightning res if you use those instead. But again, I recommend using Flame Aura. Another option, though, is you could use the Discipline Aura if you really want to right now to give you a bunch more energy shield. But I highly, highly recommend swapping this out for a Purity of Flame Scepter. Another huge bonus on that is what you can't do on the Malice or the Discipline Aura is take advantage of all your spirit buffs like Clarity, Vitality, Cannibalism. I'm sure you got another one on here. I'm pretty sure I saw another one somewhere else, but no point looking at it right now. You get all those for free on the Purity Auras, but you don't get those on Malice or Discipline. So again, that is another massive buff. You could think of that as giving you like an extra 60 spirit on top of it, so you could have a lower spirit roll. Like really, if you even only have like plus 50% spirit and a Beacon of Aziz, you'll be pretty happy. I think I needed 70% to get everything that I wanted before the Hair rune came out, but that's another thing entirely. Another thing, I know I mentioned at the start of the video, with scepters, I know you put a lot of effort into allies in your presence have increased crit chance and damage and crit damage. Those are great auras for support, but they do nothing for you directly. They would buff your minions if you had any. You don't, obviously, but if you did have any, they would support those. Or if you're in a party, they would support them. But also, presence area is very, very small. So even if you were in a party, with your current setup, this is doing absolutely nothing. So you don't need to worry about that. The only mods that matter on a scepter when you're trying to get one before getting Sacred Flame is obviously the max spirit. And then the attributes are nice, but you don't want to rely on them for when you do make the swap. And then other good ones is just like the flat mana. Yeah, you don't need to worry about too much else. You could even get increased presence area if you're wanting to get something else on the tree, but for right now, I'd say just swap this out to make gearing better as well and easier when you do swap things. It'll give you like 40% increased of one of your resistances. It'll be super easy because, yeah, you need to swap this helmet out. You need to swap this amulet out. You need to swap the scepter out. You need to swap the chest out. Your belt is really good. It's actually a ridiculously good belt. This is fantastic. It even has 3 charm slots. You could use Ingenuity if you wanted to pump the damage on your rings more, but this belt is really fantastic. It's doing so much for you with those resistances in life. It's low priority to swap. It's just, if you want more damage, Ingenuity is the way. The one thing that I do see wrong with it, though, is on your charms. You have 3 charms, but the only good one you have here is the golden charm. The bleeding charm, it can be good, but you're not really too worried about it. You're not bleeding that much anyways, and when you have vitality, you're really not worried about it at all. And then Stone Charm, unfortunately, does literally nothing for you. It's I've never seen or felt it do anything useful in any of my testing, and I would highly recommend swapping this out for a thawing charm at the minimum. There is also the unique Chaos Res charm that is pretty nice. It essentially gives you 18% more Chaos Res. It's pretty useful if you wanted to spend some money on some of the other unique charms. They're helpful as well, but these two for sure need to be swapped out, I would say. Now your gloves are also pretty great. I have no qualms with these ones at all. They could be a little bit more damage, but it's triple res with 2 damage rolls and some defensive rolls on here. These are really, really good. Again, super low priority to replace and improve these. These are really nice. And same thing with your boots. Obviously, I wish that reduced chill duration wasn't fractured or the boots weren't corrupted. I wish it was a little bit better base, but you got a big life roll on there, you got nice rarity, you got some good attributes on there, you got good defensives, and 35% move speed. Yeah, like, of the things that don't really need to be touched until you're like really min-maxing, fine-tuning your build, it's your boots, your gloves, your rings, and your weapon. Everything else probably and your belt, but everything else needs to be swapped, including your mana flask. Almost especially your mana flask, honestly. Like, it's kind of sad when I see this one because you are using Ambrosia correctly. You definitely want to be using Ambrosia. But since your Mana Flask does not have increased maximum charges, it's just increased charges is what it's called, not charges gained. It doesn't say maximum, it's just increased charges. And if you get that on there, it will, I think it's about 5 to 10 exalt for one that's like 65% increased charges, and that will boost your Wind Serpent's damage by about 30% for, like I said, 5 to 10 exalts. It's the easiest and cheapest massive upgrade you can do for your damage, and it's just no reason to not have it. And then with your or with your life flask, honestly, probably it would be nice to have something with some instant life gain. That's about it. Like, when you click it, it instantly heals you some. I find that one to be the best for survivability. I don't care about the tick afterwards. I just want to not be instantly popped by dots, and that one helps a lot. For your jewels, this one isn't too bad because it has magnitude of shock, crit chance, and energy shield. But the other ones, like the projectile damage is nice for mapping, but it does nothing for versus a boss, and that's where you're gonna need the most damage. The lightning damage is only okay because you're gonna be doing so much split damage when you fully min-max and find Pablo. I don't know if you're getting picked up on the camera or not, but you are ridiculous and hilarious. But the lightning damage is only going to be part of it when you really fine-tune your Wind Serpent to be one-shotting things, and especially when you get Sacred Flame, it's doing even less then. But yeah, again, projectile damage, not so much it either, because it's not helping with your Wind Serpent at all. And then poison on hit is whatever, and duration of damaging ailments is absolutely a non-factor. This one here as well. The attack damage is nice. The stun threshold is okay. The projectiles have an additional chance to chain is okay, but they're just not the best that you could look for. You would want to find instead crit chance, crit damage. Evasion is nice, but not essential. Just like how energy shield is nice, but not essential. Like you have... where is it here for energy shield? Right here, 1266 energy shield. So this is at most giving you, excuse me, sorry about that, like 100 energy shield, which is pretty good. Probably less with all the nodes you have for increased energy shield, honestly. Maybe like 60 or 70. So it's unfortunately not the best for you, especially if you were to make the switch to Hurry, which I highly recommend. You would be better off getting 3 green jewels, and you should definitely come down here for this 1 jewel socket to get a 4th. And one other thing you need to do, I would highly recommend, is getting a timeless green jewel with, like, if you can, crit damage, crit chance, increased effect of either notables or small passives. Just a whole bunch of really good potential nodes that you could put on a timeless here to take advantage of these 3. And if you have increased radius to large, it would also take advantage of this node right here. Wouldn't if you had increased effect or something, it wouldn't affect how many frenzy charges you get, but it would give like extra crit damage or crit chance per notable if you were to put it there. I obviously linked to you my tree there so that you know what I mean by the timeless jewels. I do hope that helps you out a lot, but that is your jewels, your charms, your flasks, your gear. I feel like this should help a lot, honestly. Your gear does have a lot of room to grow, but you are on the right track for most of it. Just a few small mistakes, but nothing to like really jump out at you. Now, for the skills here, I was a little bit less sold on Spear Throw until I saw how you were using it in the video with Inhibitor. It's not the worst. It can definitely stick with you for a while. I do think Stormlance would be better, but Spear Throw is doing a decent job, and you're using it right with Blind, Martial Tempo. Mobility is decent. Honestly, Reach is doing nothing for you. Inhibitor is good, though, but for a final one, I would say, like, increased shock effect, or sorry, increased chance to shock would be probably the best. Or, honestly, I think increased chance to shock would be best, just full stop. Because as long as you're able to get Ignite and Chill, then you're happy. And with Inhibitor, you could spam it until you get full Frenzy charges, and then you're not too worried about Stormlance. I just really like how Stormlance fits and feels, but Spear Throw is doing it for you. I am actually pleasantly surprised with how that works. Now, the reason why I like Stormlance, though, is because when it drops, it lasts for a second and a half, and if you throw it through the boss, like the cooldown on Sniper's Mark with Ingenuity is 1.54 seconds. If you throw it through the boss, and then the spears stab in the ground, they last for another second and a half and then explode. So one throw is 2 procs of Sniper's Mark and gives you, I did the math on it, I think it's a 57% chance. Yeah, 57% chance of giving you max frenzy charges thanks to Avidity and Frenetic. It's pretty fantastic. And then even if you don't throw it all the time, like you're going to be getting every second and a half, so every time you throw the explosion or the explosion pops off, you throw it again, you're going to have another pop of Sniper's Mark. So the first throw is 2 charges, then the next one is 3, the next one is 4, then 5, then 6. You won't get 2 charges on one throw after that again. But it's still really nice for giving you fast charges, whereas your playstyle with Spear Throw is just spam, 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 and never use any charges, and then Inhibitor makes sure you get maxed out pretty quick. The other good thing about... Hold on, kitty. I know, buddy, I know. The other good thing about Stormlance is that when it hits the ground, even if you have lower chance to shock, like if you're having a hard time getting the shocks off, when it explodes with a frenzy charge, it makes shock ground, which synergizes with it a lot better as well. And then also on top of all of that, it attacks super fast, so if you were to have a cast on skill that's not just Sniper's Mark, so if you have like Frostball or Frostbolt or something like that, or a fire skill, anything, it's casting that over and over and over and over and over again super fast, which will help stack up Trinity really hard. You're not using Trinity, obviously, or at least, oh, you are, but it wasn't in that last video. But as it stands, it stacks up Trinity super fast against the bosses, which is really helpful at low investment. Obviously, I don't need Trinity anymore, but a lot of people do, so I'd like to keep it in there to show how to make the most out of it. Alright, so now, as I come down here, I've talked about Stormlance, I've talked about how it works with everything. Now let's go over the rest of your stuff. Your Wind Serpent is set up really, really well for what you have. I think if you get the Haris and Beacons, it'll massively increase your chance, and your better Mana Flask, of course. It'll massively increase your chance to one-shot things. You'll need extra cold and lightning damage for sure, which will help you pump all sorts of ailment damage, which potentially could let you use Excoriate, which is probably my favorite support gem to use on Wind Serpent because it is a 30% more. But you are using Blindside, which I think you should keep in there because, like we can see on your Path of Building, is this it? I don't know why it's at 100% crit chance there. I think I may have swapped a few things around, but was saying before you weren't at 100% crit chance, but you're really close, unless I'm thinking of somebody different. But as it stands, why is it? Oh, Wind Serpent, that's why. No, it's even saying Spear Throw is 100. I'm not too sure what I was seeing before, but anyways, if you don't have 100% crit chance, Blindside, super important. If you do have 100% crit chance, you can drop it. It's actually better to not drop. Let's just check that right now, because for whatever reason, yeah, it's still saying 100%. That is very weird. I'm wondering what's going on there. The other day it said it wasn't. We'll just skip that. If you don't have 100% blind or crit chance, Blindside essential. Get you crit chance or crit capped out there so you can get the forked crits with your Tangle Tongue. It's a ridiculous damage increase, but getting the if you've used a range attack recently, you throw or you boost your melee hits would be very, very beneficial. And then you could put Primal Armament onto Lightning Spear here. You could probably drop Volt if you are going to keep with the spammy playstyle, but if you're willing to slow it down a bit, 100% keep Volt in there and drop Perpetual Charge. You would no longer need it. And all that extra damage would massively increase your ability to get freezes off with Herald of Thunder. Herald of Thunder right now, the only reason why it's not freezing consistently and not giving you all the frenzy charges you want is because it's just straight up not doing enough damage. Or I should say not doing enough cold damage. You have Cold Infusion to get the cold damage up with Embitter, Ice Bite, Glaciation, and then you're able to use Deadly Herald because of all the extra spirit you have thanks to your Omen Scepter with plus 80% increased spirit. Without that, though, like I feel like you could drop Deadly Herald and pump the damage even more. Like I was saying, when you are able to move a few things around, you'll have some more damaging gems in there for sure. I like Long Shot in there, but it's perfectly fine in Lightning Spear as well. But if you do get your damage up high enough, you won't even need Cold Infusion anymore, which will increase the damage of your Herald and Thunder. But that is such a low priority thing to do. This year's helping you out a lot more than anything else, and I would definitely suggest keeping it in there. If you get the chicken leg, obviously Embitter is going to be doing massively more again and make so much of Herald and Thunder just instantly freeze. Since you're currently not getting off consistent freezes, though, it might be good for you to straight up drop Ice Bite, Embitter, Glaciation, all this, and go with the Electrocute tech with Electrocute, Neural Overload, and then just pumping lightning damage. You could even put Lightning Infusion on there to pump it higher, give you better chances to Electrocute. It's going to be less damage overall because you're losing Ice Bite, but we already saw from a non-ailment resistant maps, you're not consistently getting freezes off, so it might be worth it for you. Also in the future, when you do pump all this up, when you do get more cold damage and the like, when you're able to get enough fire damage on your Lightning Spear to consistently get off ignites, onto your Herald of Thunder, Immolate would be incredibly useful because Immolate does 30% of damage as extra fire against ignited enemies, but it can't ignite itself, which means that when you get that, Embitter would transform that to cold, which would help you get even more freezes. Now, your Infernal Cry here with Second Wind, Premeditation, Rage War Cry, and a Raging Cry is perfect. If you were to put a 6th slot, you'd put on Murderous Intent as well to also give your hits Culling Strike. But the big downside of what you're doing is how you're using Infernal Cry, because you weren't close enough to the boss when you're using it. You didn't have the well, it's dependent on the power of the monsters that you use it against. A unique boss has 20 power, so it almost fully charges your Infernal Cry. You just need to be close to the boss, let it be essentially targetable when you use it, and then you will massively pump your damage that way. It's a humongous damage increase. Nothing wrong with your setup here, is just with the way that you're using Infernal Cry was the issue. And now with Castle and Critical, with how much crit chance we have, you're getting multiple casts of cast on critical per lightning spear throw, so you do not need impetus. You should honestly just drop this. It's doing nothing for you. And then you could put on something that will actually help you out a little bit more. Since you don't have any source of added damage as extra fire, you can't use that to charge Trinity that way. But some things that you could do that would really, really help, you could put on utility skills, or like I was using frost walls, but that can be kind of annoying for mapping. You could use frost bolts to slow things on the ground. You could use unearth so that you get a bunch of little minions when it picks up minions on the ground for you. There's a lot of ways to use a cast on skill, not just to boost Trinity, but to also just give you utility. You could also use like overabundance with marks, if with another mark, to use voltaic mark if you were using a controller, but cast on marks do not really work with mouse and keyboard except for against bosses, which is very unfortunate. But there is a whole slew of different spells that you could put on here, and it would be much better than using impetus, and it would actually make use of putting inspiration on there, because right now you have 0 mana issues. You probably don't even need inspiration. Just a quick little note is when you're putting a spell on here for cast and critical for utility, almost guaranteed you're going to want it at the lowest level as possible to reduce how much mana it uses. Now with your Trinity, it's perfectly set up. You got level 20 Trinity with the 3 masteries in there, brings it up to level 23, so perfect. Like I was saying before about using the Purity Scepters, preferably Purity of Flame, you would be able to put your precision in there as well. So you could get precision, clarity, vitality, and cannibalism, all for 0 spirit cost. It's ridiculously powerful. I think that should be 100% used. Now for Ghost Dance fast forward, all you need to do. It's great. Going forward though, I think we're probably going to drop Ghost Dance, because when you get Hurry's Ire, like, don't drop it till you get Hurry's, but after you get Hurry's, you'll feel that you don't really need it. It's still pretty nice though. It's a good utility. It's good survivability, but it doesn't protect you against one-shots, which is the only thing that's really a major issue. So I don't really see Ghost Dance as being the best thing for you right now, but don't drop it until you make the gear changes, that's for sure. Your Wind Dancer with Arms Length's Unbreakable Main, all really good. I'm not the biggest enjoyer of Arm's Length because the knockback is already pretty small, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. There's a bunch of other supports on there that could be really good, mostly Magnified Effect and Reach. Those ones are really, really good on Wind Dancer because it increases the AoE that they kill things, and you don't need to worry about the reduced accuracy from Reach with Wind Dancer because it's an AoE skill, so the only thing that would actually avoid that hit are things with the effect of Hurries or the effect of Acrobatics, which is none of the mobs. It's really fantastic. You got Spear Stab with Rage. Yeah, you got your Conduction and Rage in your Spear Stab, which is basically exactly what I was saying for Spear Throw. You could use that as well instead of Stormlance. However, the reason why I was saying I don't like Spear Stab on it is because if you cast Infernal Cry and then accidentally start using Spear Stab after, it immediately uses the buff, and then you don't have it for your Wind Serpent's Fury. That's why I really don't like Spear Stab, and also for the same reasons of Spear Throw, it does not build up not frenzy charges. It does not build up shock, chill, and ignite. It doesn't really build up electrocute or freeze either. It's just not a really good ailment builder. So that's why I'm not a big fan of Spear Stab, and plus it can be a little bit clunky to use, but if you enjoy them, you can, to avoid having to put another skill in for Stormlance. So I'm not saying take it out for sure, but it is definitely an option. And now your Combat Frenzy with Perfusion, that's also fantastic. No issue with it. Just make sure it's qualityed so you have increased chance to get an extra charge. I think it's 70% with Perfusion and 20 quality. You probably have it qualityed, it's just I can't see it on POE Ninja. And now with regards to your tree here, there's not too many things. There we go. Actually, I'm just going to open it in Path of Building because it's a little bit easier to see in Path of Building. The main thing that I saw was you have this dual socket not path to, but then you have 2 random travel nodes for electrocute, and you got like an extra node here for evasion energy shield. It's just a little bit unoptimal or suboptimal, and I would 100% suggest getting that jewel socket node and getting a new jewel for sure. This is a fantastic node, absolutely fantastic, because it's a 20% more multiplier if you can consistently electrocute, but I've not been able to figure out how to consistently electrocute against bosses yet. If I could, I would get it, no question. I was hoping to do it with Herald of Thunder, but that is not in the cards yet. With that said, though, you don't have a source of electrocution in your kit, so what are these 2 points even doing? They're doing literally nothing for you. Those are the first 2 things to drop, no questions asked. On top of all this, your chest piece and obviously your helmet are not making the most out of Subterfuge Mask or Spectral Ward. So these are, as much as I hate to say it, kind of wasted nodes with how low your stats are. These could be massively improved in a heartbeat. I feel like that should be something you do first. Just honestly, either improve your gear or drop these nodes. Obviously, I come out through the evasion this way because I'm using Hurries, and again, I suggest you use that because it will massively increase your survivability. But if you want to use an evasion energy shield chest, you could keep coming through here for Spectral Ward, but you will feel the loss in survivability if you do that. And you could also I know you like the movement speed while you have energy shields, so you could definitely keep these for this 3% movement speed, no issue there. Might need to drop this 1 node, because one thing I highly suggest you getting is Throat Seeker, because it is, a lot of crit damage, but you should maintain crit cap. I'm not too sure if I just changed a few things on the tree or what I got you for crit cap on there, but anyways, you need to stay crit capped for sure. Yeah, something changed on here. I'm not too sure what's going on. But if you can stay crit capped and have Throat Seeker, it is a monstrous damage increase. So like here you're at 1.8 million. You take these, you're 1.9. Here you're 2.2 million. It's just so much damage. I feel like you really need to come up here for this one as soon as you can. It's a little bit out of the way, but not that much. Yeah. You really need to come up this way and get all that extra damage, and because you're not consistently getting freezes off with your Herald of Thunder, and yeah, it's reducing your damage uptime, which is making it so you get fewer frenzy charges. Getting this bit of extra damage will actually increase your survivability more than like a couple of % of evasion energy shield, especially with you having such low base numbers on evasion energy shield. There's your energy shield. And yeah, I feel like all those little changes put together will like massively increase how well you play. It'll increase your map boss clear, because obviously your damage is pretty low on 14 Wind Serpents after configuring all your stuff and giving you the Tangle Tongue critical damage bonus. It's not a perfect calc, but it's what we have right now. But as that stands, I really hope this does you good. Thank you again, AAA, for submitting your build, and also for providing the videos for, the video to show exactly what your playstyle is like and what things are working like. I do think that you're on the right track. It's got a few things that need to be fixed. But yeah, thank you again, and I hope this helps in every way. See you later, my dudes.